Welcome to Deep Thought. People will try to make fun of my traits that have brought me success. Oh, man. I was saying about that. You know, one thing on Deep Thought, just to be clear, I'm not even presenting y'all know I don't present a specific philosophy or anything. I don't promote like any spiritual path, philosophical path. It's just a thing. So yeah, long-time followers or supporters rather know sometimes something just comes to mind just to think about. And it's something for y'all to think about. And I've noticed this for really decades. You know, I remember like early 90s, people would say some stuff and try to make it sound like it was bad. Certain traits that I had that, you know, has really just brought me success. And I remember when I first got the legendary book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I was reading some of the stuff in there and I was like, well, I do this already. And stuff, even the sex transmutation stuff, you know, because I would have some people say to me, oh, you got all this sexual energy. Some women would say to me, you got all this sexual energy. And I was just like, you know, they try to make me feel bad, but then I go and Think and Grow Rich, and they, you know, Napoleon Hill was like, men who succeed, I mean, just remember when this was written, have high sexual energy. And honestly, for the ladies listening, I've seen that too. You know, I was like, well, wait a minute. I had all this stuff and people would try to make me feel bad for having it. But then I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm having levels of success and they are not, you know? And, you know, and I was thinking about that. I don't know. I always think about that because somebody say, you're this, you're that. You know how people try to gaslight you and stuff. And I'm like, but it works, though. You know, like somebody will say, hey, you particularly anal and real particular and stuff. Yeah. OK. And like I'm going to tell you one interesting trait that people actually would try to make me fun, like actually make me feel bad for, which it don't make sense to me. But then I understand why they would. And that's my drive to make money. I mean, let's just be real. Money isn't everything. It's just up there with oxygen. Now, just to be clear, I don't do anything. I am very particular about what I do to make money. I mean, honestly, yeah, I could have got involved in some shady stuff and all of that. Shoot, I could do YouTube videos and put out a bunch of bullshit and probably have 500,000 subs or something. No, let's just be real now. You know, entertainment stuff. But I said, no, I'm going to make my money wherever it is with integrity. But don't get it twisted. Rom still wants to make that money and stuff. But nah, I seriously would have people who would try to make me feel bad because of, oh, money ain't everything. You know how some broke people do. Oh, money's the root of all evil and stuff. Money's the root of all evil. I think one of my supporters either said it here or on one of my other channels. I'm like, yeah, but with everything going on now, people wish they had more of that money. You know, food prices going up. Shoot, they putting signs on restaurants now. It's like, you know, because of everything happening, the prices will be going up. I'm like, shoot. And let's be real, if everything settled down, the prices ain't going back down and stuff. Shoot, it'd be something else to like say, oh, yeah, we having trouble. And there is a lot of stuff because let's just be real out here. Just on that money piece, and this is something I might go into on my money channel, but you know how I flow here. I'm just going to go with the flow and talk about it for a second. The world, more and more, society is becoming have and have-nots. Not what religion you are, not what race, not even what subculture. It's more and more getting to you either have money or you don't. More and more. And it's something to really pay attention to. I would say pay strong, no matter what your beliefs are and stuff, what your background is, pay attention to the money stuff. Just pay attention. I'm going to get more into that in a couple days, though, because it is something to think about. think about. But, and I was sharing that, though, because I'm going to tell you what, traits can go both ways. It can seem bad. But depending on what you're doing, it might be good. I use a trait that's considered a bad trait by many people. Obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD. When people just have to have something perfect and everything. And, it can, depends on how acute or severe it is, it can be an issue. But remember, I said before, I used to work as a merchandiser. One of them, job. What job number was it? I had 1,000. So this one of my last jobs. So, okay, $9.99, right? But if anybody's familiar with merchandising, what you're doing, you setting up stuff. You putting, especially if you're in a retail place selling clothes, you setting up the clothes, setting up the look, you folding and everything, and it might seem like nothing. But I'm going to be real with y'all. One of the reasons why I kind of embraced merchandising, at least for a little while, I saw an article. Okay, like when I was at this retail store I was working at, major department store, and I was just working there part-time. I was talking with a couple of the merchandisers who would come in and set up, different brands and everything. Like one was working with Polo Ralph Lauren. One was working with it was Ecto or something, one of those type of brands. And, the one who was working with Ecto, she was fine. So I was talking. She told me where she lived. I was like, you live there? And then the one who was setting up the Ralph Lauren was, she was driving like a late model car and lived in a 4-story townhouse. Not a 3-story townhouse or a 2-story townhouse, a 4-story townhouse. I was like, she making some money. Wait a minute. Then I saw like merchandisers can make like 6 figures. I was like, just for folding clothes? But I brought that up in connection with OCD because one of the things when I was working, we would joke around about, OCD kicking in. Because the money you making there, just having that, being meticulous like that can actually make you money in that profession and no telling where else. Indeed, even with the autism spectrum, there's a lot of jobs that someone on that spectrum might be very good at. Like I remember I saw something about, there was a gentleman I think he was in Texas. He set up a car wash specifically for young men who are on the spectrum, specifically. But he said they were very thorough in how they cleaned the car, extremely thorough, And I was thinking about that. It was like, I'm going to tell you something now. Any trait you have, it's dependent on the situation. Just overall. I shared some of my background because, people try to make it sound like it was bad and stuff. But I'm like, but it helps me in life. Everything in life is relative. It could be good, it could be bad, depending on the circumstance. You might have a trait that might be annoying even to yourself in certain situations, but then it's perfect for other situations. Like someone being real calm, cool. Like say somebody's trait is they real cool, they real calm, they ain't all extroverted and everything. And because of their nature, they can stand the sight of blood. They don't get upset. People might see somebody bleeding or something, and they might be like, oh, no, all this stuff. And then the person who's just like shrugged their shoulders and say, well, let me get something to help this person. But they real cool and calm. People might say, nah, something wrong with him. He ain't getting upset. That's terrible. Okay. And maybe you could have an argument that it is if it happens out in the streets or it happens to a family member. But let's turn that around. What if that same person is operating on you? They're a surgeon. And anything can happen during that surgery. Who do you want? The one who gets upset or the one who's cool and calm? The one who's looking at your organs and stuff. The one who, if they slip up or lose control, can end your life. Think about it. You want that cool and calm person operating on you or being your dentist or something. You want that. Or, there's a fire, airline pilot, they find a plane and the engine blow out. You don't want that pilot getting upset. You want that pilot who can stay calm and land the damn plane. That's my point, though. That's my point. So anyway, I want y'all to think about what I just said. All right. And I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.